Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, everybody. How are we doing? This is my favorite time of week. This is the time of week that I get to show people what's going on in my world, explain some new concepts, and and share a little bit of information, because you know what they always say, sharing is indeed caring. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hop into the presentation, and then at the end we'll be able to take a few questions and so forth. Very, very important, guys. What you need to start doing from the very, very get-go is understanding what you need to do to be successful. It's like this. It's like getting into your car and just driving around with no destination in the GPS. If you never know how to get there, right, you're never going to get there. Okay. So what I'm going to do is cue you into some key habits that once I implemented into my business, I was able to really make some big changes. And sometimes, as the old saying goes, small hinges swing big doors. And what that means is sometimes small changes, small shifts, small habits can have a huge, and I mean huge, compound effect. Okay. So without further ado, let's hop on into it. Right, guys? So, and then I want you to, guys, at the end, I'm going to ask you all to put one habit that you're going to change immediately, not next week, not next month, not next quarter, not next year, tomorrow morning when you get to the office at 8 o'clock. That's what I want to see. Okay, folks? So let's get on into it. So one of the most important things in business, and I don't care if it's brokerage business or what kind of business you're running, is consistency and preparation. Right? The old saying goes, success happens when inspiration meets preparation, right? What you need, or when opportunity meets preparation. But what the reality of it is, folks, you can have the best game plan, okay? But if you're not consistent with it, you're not going to get consistent results. The people that are most consistent in their business are the ones that get consistent results. What do I mean by consistency, right? So consistency means the night before you leave the office, and at the end of your day, plan your next day. Can anybody tell me why you would want to plan your day out the night before? Can anybody tell me? Let's see if there's any good guesses here. There's a very, very important concept to understand, right? And if any of you ever heard of the reticular activation center of your brain, what it refers to is that the area of your brain that comes in that allows you to start like connecting dots. Let me explain it. Let me speak like instead of speaking nerd speak, let me give you some like real world stuff, right? The first time I went to go buy a Honda Accord, I came home from the Honda dealer. I test drove a Honda Accord, loved the car, and came home. And like every third car on the road seemed to be a Honda Accord, right? So what happened was, it wasn't that there were any more Honda Accords on the road that day. It's just that my brain became aware of them. Okay. Now you're probably saying to yourself, like, what does this have to do with commercial brokerage? And that's very simple, right? When you plan your day out the night before, the same area of the brain that's called the reticular activation center, right? It goes to work connecting the dots for you for your next day, right? When we sleep, our brains do a bunch of things. Not only do we rest, but we filter information, we connect dots, right? So your brain is a supercomputer. And what it does is it connects a bunch of dots for you for the next day. So what does that mean? Knowing that it does that for you, why don't you take and put that and use it to your advantage, right? Just weaponize it, so to speak. So if you are leaving the office without having your call list for the next day, without having your to-do list for the next day, you're leaving money on the table, right? So it's very, very important for you to understand you need to prepare. And the people that are best prepared, I'll take the C student with a game plan over the A student that's winging it any day of the week. I think Warren Buffett said, a genius without a plan versus an idiot with a plan. The idiot's going to win every time, right? Just because they have done the preparation, they have the strategy, they have the tactics and so forth, right? So the point is consistency. Number one is going to be doing the things you need to every day, planning your day out the day before, doing your prospecting every single day, right? Show of hands, guys. How many of you have either children or grandchildren or nieces and nephews or brothers and sisters, right, that are younger than you, right? Okay. Now, here's the thing. Would you ever, let's say they're a newborn, would you ever not feed your newborn like for a day or two or three, right? No, that sounds asinine, right? It sounds silly, okay? Think of it this way. Prospecting is to your business what food is to your body, okay? It's nourishment. Without it, you will surely wither away. Without prospecting and without outbound outreach to new business, your business will wither away. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to be consistently prospecting. If you're not waking up every single day and reaching out to new people that you can have an opportunity to do business with, you're leaving money on the table. Does that make sense, folks? Guys, do me a favor. Type a 1 in the chat if that makes sense, that, the same way you would never starve yourself, by not eating every day, you similarly would not be neglecting your business in the same fashion by not prospecting every day. Okay. When you put it into that, okay, Olga gets it, Brian gets it, Lauren, James. Yes, exactly, guys. So that's the point I want to make. Okay. For those of you that are there, that you say, well, I'm not going to prospect today. I got too many deals I'm working on closing. Oh, go fill out this contract. Oh, I got to do this. I got to do that. Guys, what you are literally doing is starving your business. So don't get upset when your business isn't as robust as it could be at the end of the month or the quarter or the year if you starved it half the time, right? If you're trying to grow big muscles, let's say like Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? You think that guy skipped a meal, or you think he was jamming food in his mouth and making sure that he was getting the right fuel in his body? The same thing goes for your business. If you're trying to build a big, strong, healthy business, you have to feed it every day, and you have to feed it the right things. Okay. Super duper important. Okay. Next up. Okay. So just remember, folks, your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your character, and your character becomes your destiny. How many of you would like to be able to take control of your destiny? Okay. Because if you think about it, folks, if you're working with tenant reps, or working as a tenant rep, you're representing tenants, or if you are working with buyers, you have a very low degree of control of your destiny. Whereas if you are working with sellers, you are much, much, infinitely more in control of your destiny. Why? Because the only thing that has to happen when you're working with sellers is that you or one of the 1, 2, 3, 5,000 agents in your network have to find a buyer for the property. As opposed to, if you're working with buyers or working with tenants, you are always at the mercy of the market. Think about it. Guys, do me a favor. How many of you are magicians out there? Just say I. Okay, type I in the chat, right? Because last time I checked, none of us have, a top hat and we're pulling rabbits out of hats. We're not magicians. We don't create bricks and mortar out of thin air, right? Like a magician would pull a rabbit out of a hat. What we do is we bring buyers and sellers together. So the point I'm making is that if you're working with tenants and you're trying to find spaces, and if you're working for investors or buyers and you're trying to find properties to fit their criteria, guess what happens sometimes, folks? What happens is that sometimes the thing that they're looking for does not exist. So if you're looking, you can look for 1,000 years for something, and if it doesn't exist, guess what? You're never going to find it. Okay. So similarly, if you want to take control of your destiny by becoming a listing agent, okay, go ahead and type #destiny in the comments, because at the end of the day, folks, the only way for you to have a high degree of control and a high degree of probability in your business is to take control of it by becoming a listing agent. Okay. If you guys want help so that you know how to take control of your destiny, we have a 6-month training course. We show you, we call it the Listing Agent Accelerator Program. We accelerate your results by showing you a process that's worked over and over and over again and going from coast to coast. Okay. Very, very important. It's predictable. It's repeatable. Very, very important. Okay. So #destiny if you want to take control of your destiny, because if you're tired of being ghosted by buyers, then I guess what? There is absolutely a better way out there. And the way of doing it is by taking control of your business. Okay. Very, very important. So again, remember, preparation is super important. remember also that consistency, super duper important. Just like you wouldn't starve yourself, you wouldn't starve a newborn, right? If you want them to grow big and healthy and strong, you're going to need to feed them every day and feed quality food. What that means in your business is by prospecting 5 days a week and by reaching out to the right people with the right message at the right time. Make sense so far, guys? Cool. Okay, so those are two very, very important habits. The other important habit was not only reaching out on a daily basis, but reaching out to people so that I could take control of my destiny. And by doing that, meaning reaching out to sellers on an ongoing basis so that you can over and over and over again be able to become a listing agent so that you can have control of your business, right? The next thing, so those are some major, major points right there, okay? The next thing I want to talk about is your morning routine, okay? How many of you are watch basketball? Type basketball if you watch basketball on TV. How many of you watch golf, right? How many of you watch baseball? Any sports fans out there? Just go ahead and type the sport that you like in the chats. Okay, I want to see. Okay, we got a basketball fan. Manuel's a basketball fan. Norris is Lindsay's a basketball fan. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, we got soccer. Okay, good. Badminton, awesome, good stuff, guys. Right? Athletes are very, very big on routines. Okay, Lewis says tennis. Melissa says polo. Love it. Basketball, good, guys. What you'll notice if you study sports and you study high producing athletes, I mean like D1 athletes, pro athletes, whatever it might be. Okay, they will have a very, very specific routine that they go through. So, for instance, let's say Kobe Bryant is at the foul line, right? You will notice they have what they call a pre-shot routine, which means before every shot, they'll do a certain amount of dribbles, right? They'll like run through the motion and use their hand. Tiger Woods, when he's stepping up to the ball, I'm actually going to the Masters this weekend, right? So like when a golfer, okay, Tiger's maybe an outdated a reference at this point. I'm getting old, but like Rory McIlroy or any of the big boys, when they step up to the ball, what they do is they do the same motion over and over again. The reason they do that isn't because it looks cool, right? But what they're trying to do is they're trying to train their brain to start the motion every single time the same exact way so that they can get the same exact result every single time. So now imagine if you started your morning the same exact way every single day. For instance, if you had the same amount of sleep every single night, you woke up the same exact time every single day, you had the same breakfast, which is like will not spike your blood sugar, but give you good, long, sustainable energy throughout the day. Imagine if you got to the office the same time every single day. Imagine if you did, let's say you were doing meditation or journaling or some sort of self-care in the morning. Imagine if you did the exact same thing every single day. Do you think you'd arrive to the office in the same mindset? Do you think you'd be able to have more repeatable results by doing the same thing over and over again? So just as Tiger Woods or Rory McIlroy or, Kobe Bryant, oh gosh, Kobe, RIP Kobe, but LeBron James, any of those guys, any of the highest level athletes, they all start their routine with the same, they start their emotion with the same routine. The point is, if you start doing things the same exact way, you'll have a much higher chance of producing a repeatable result. So do me a favor, folks. How many of you believe that if you started your day the same way every time, that you'd have a better result? Put repeatable in the chat if you believe that you could create a repeatable result. If you're arriving at the office the same time every day, arriving in the same mental state, arriving with you're wide awake and you got a good night's sleep. Imagine that. Imagine Brian's with me, AC's with me. Love it. Yes, Jessica's with me. Yeah, guys, this is the stuff that most people don't talk about, but it makes a huge difference. Whether you're running in the office 5 minutes behind, you're blaring music on the way, you got a bagel hanging out of your mouth because you rushed out the door, because you overslept, because you watched too many episodes on Netflix last night, right? Ideally, it would be nice. What about kids and other circumstances? Absolutely. Norris, you're 100% on point. Yes, life happens. However, the best we can do is try to mitigate for those circumstances. So if that means you get up 20 minutes earlier to pack the kids' lunches so that you're not in a rush, yes, kids are going to be sick, kids are going to get up late, that sort of thing. But what you do is you control the controllables, right? So here's a perfect example of that. Thank you so much for asking. Talk about what they say is your morning starts the night before. So imagine this. Let's say you get your kids ready for school, right? And then you drop them off at school and then you go to the office. A lot of folks that I work with, they're in a similar position, okay? But what if by some chance, instead of making their lunch in the morning, let's say you wake up a little late, you make their lunch, you're rushing out the door, this is sort of thing. What if before you went to bed, you made the lunch the night before? What if you laid out your business clothes the night before? What if you laid out the kids' clothes the night before? What if, maybe you gave the kids a shower or the bath the night before instead of doing it in the morning? The more things you can load to the night before, the less variables in your morning, and the more things you'll be able to accomplish smoothly in the morning. The more you remove variables, the less friction points there are, right? So it's a very, very good point. Yep. Morning starts the night before. As much as you possibly can, do everything. I lay my clothes out the night before. I get my stuff ready the night before and I leave it by the door. When I'm working out in the mornings, I lay out my gym clothes the night before, because what that allows you to do is have the fewest amount of friction points between you and your goal. Okay. Very, very important. Okay, cool. So morning routines. Let's talk about morning routines. What is the best way to get to the office? Number one, if you want to get sleep, guys, sleep is so important to starting your day right. So again, set yourself an alarm for the night before. Okay. Set it for an hour before you're supposed to be asleep. Okay. So let's say your body requires 7 hours, just for a nice round number. If you're trying to be productive, right? It's very important that you forget waking up the same time every morning. Go to bed the same time the night before. What that does is if your body requires 7 hours, you're going to be able to wake up feeling refreshed because you went to bed the same time every night. Right? Very, very important. So, and similarly, there's this concept called sleep hygiene. Okay. And if you're paying attention to your sleep hygiene, you're going to hack the way the brain works naturally. Here's what I mean. Go ahead and set an alarm an hour before you're supposed to go to bed. Okay. And before you're going to bed, don't watch any screens. Okay. Maybe read a book. If you are going to watch screens, go on Amazon and pick yourself up a pair of $10 blue light blocker glasses, right? They might, not be the most fashionable, but our brains get stimulated by screens, whether it's an iPad, a laptop, whatever it is. So be very, very important that an hour before you go to sleep, you are not allowing blue light into your eyes, because it stimulates a part of the brain and it makes it harder for you to go to sleep. And then it makes it harder for you to get into deep sleep. Okay. Very, very important. So go to bed an hour or set an alarm an hour earlier. If you are going to use a screen within the last 60 minutes of of your sleep time, make sure you wear blue light glasses, right? I keep some by the nightstand, guys. These are all the smallest little things that this might be 2% and that might be 3% and that might be 2%. But guess what? Like we talked about before, if you get 2% better every week, how much further are you going to be better along 52 weeks from now? Go ahead and put that in the chat if you were listening earlier. Very, very important. Okay. So let's see who comes up with the gold star. Ooh, look at this. Look at this. Brian was paying attention. Emmanuel was paying attention. Love it. Exactly, guys. 274%, right? So guys, think of it this way. You're going to bed. You're setting your alarm for an hour before your bedtime. Guess what? That's your 2%. You get blue light glasses. You spend 10, 12 bucks on Amazon, and you, if you are going to watch a screen, you wear blue light glasses before you go to bed. It allows you to sleep better. You wake up the same time every day. That's another 2%. You set out your clothes the night before. That's another 2%. You make your lunch or you meal prep the night before. That's another 2%. Guys, all these 2% add up. Okay. So at the end of the day, or I should say at the beginning of the day, you are starting 20% ahead of most people. And who do you think is going to win? The guy or gal that starts out 20% ahead of the competition, or the one that's rushing to work, hasn't gotten a good night's sleep, right? Very, very important. Okay. So very important. So to understand, these are the things. And Merlin says, is this the CRE training or a different class? No, no, no. This is all, Merlin. Thank you so much for asking this. This is a higher level in terms of business success. These are the things that you can hack to make your CRE training or your CRE business that much more effective, because so many things are universal. And these are some very, very important. We'll go into tactical, practical stuff. We were in it last week and we'll be in next week. But for a lot of people, they get too busy on doing just the tactics, and they don't take a step back to really understand fully how much they can be hacking their success, right? Yeah. Merlin says, jumped in late, thought I signed up for yoga. LOL. Love it. Okay, here's another one, guys. Now, again, that's a perfect segue for the next one. Guys, journaling is super duper important. I don't know if any of you have ever done it. In fact, those of you that have done it, okay, go ahead and do me a favor and type journal if you've ever journaled, okay? And then if you've ever considered doing it, type consider in it, okay? All right, so I got Jessica, I got Lewis, I got AMC, I got Jessica saying to consider it, Lisa, journal. Look at this, look at all these folks that journal. Okay, guys. Now, for those of you that aren't doing it, okay, do me a favor. Those of you that do journal every day, go ahead and put the number one benefit that you've seen from it, okay? Guys, I've been journaling since 2016, and I know it sounds woo-woo, okay? From a dude that grew up in New Jersey, right? Like, it's the least woo-woo place on earth, I promise you. However, right, when you start journaling, as far as I know, I should say from my personal experience, it is the fastest way to retrain your mind. So if you have limiting beliefs in terms of where you can take your business to, what your goals are, the fastest way to rewrite your destiny is to journal every day on that. Lisa says it keeps me on track because if I write something down, I follow through. Exactly. That's exactly the point. I write my daily, my weekly, and my annual goals every single day. You know what that allows me to do? Makes me stay consistent. Makes me prepare for what I need to do that day. Do you know how hard it is to admit to yourself, once you've written it in the morning, I made 50 dials today. So what I do is I do it in as if I have already accomplished it, because your brain doesn't know the difference between fiction and reality, right? Very, very important. Brian says the subconscious seems to be mapping out the plan for me. Yes, it helps give you clarity. Yeah, guys, you might think this is woo-woo, but this stuff works, okay? And I promise you, if you were to journal, just write down your daily, weekly, and annual goals once a day, and write down like 5 affirmations. You know, I made $300,000 this year. I made 50 dials today. I made whatever it might be. You will see in a very short period of time how much easier it gets to become becomes consistent with your goals. And consistency is what makes your business stronger. No question about it. Okay. And then finally, guys, this is where the rubber meets the road. Bottom line is prospecting. Okay. You need to have a prospecting routine. You need to be reaching out to the right people at the right time with the right message. The hottest streak I ever got on, I had an 800-day streak. Now it's, of course, Monday through Friday, not Saturday and Sunday. Okay. But I had an 800-day streak of prospecting. And some days I was tied up and I only made a few calls, but for 800 business days in a row, I did outbound reach. Okay. The effect that it had on my business in a short period of time, we're only talking about a couple of years, guys. It drastically transformed my business in a short period of time. Reaching out to someone every day. Okay. And in my case, I made it the rule, 50 dials a day. Okay. I have a saying, 50 dials a day keeps poverty at bay. Okay. Very, very important to understand. If you reach out to 50 different people on a daily basis, there's no question, sooner or later, you're going to strike gold, and you're going to strike gold a whole lot faster than the person that does 5 dials one day, 10 dials the next, and so forth. So guys, let me know, type hashtag 50 if you guys want to make a promise to yourself to make 50 dials a day. Because if you do 50 dials a day for the next 6 months, you will not recognize your business 6 months from now. Okay. By the end of September, early October, you will not recognize your business. I promise you. If you are considering upping your game this year, if you're considering doing it, the fastest way you can do it is to prospect every day, to prospect consistently and reach out to the right people with the right message at the right time. Okay. Jack says only 50. Yeah. Some people say 50 is a lot, and I say 50 is not that much. If you want to book between 1 and 2 meetings a day to doing what we do, using the method that we use, you can get that done in 50 dials, right? Some days you'll get skunked, but some days you'll get 1, 2, 3 meetings, right? So so 50 is the way to go, guys. It's a good barometer. And then in your market, you dial it up, you dial it back. It all depends on how much money you want to make, folks. You are truly in control of it. Okay. Very, very important. Okay. So yes, today was more of a high level, almost philosophical kind of outreach today. But what I want to impress upon you folks is your actions become your habits, and your habits determine your destiny. Bottom line. Okay. So if you want to start building the right habits, hopefully you were taking notes today, and hopefully you found one thing that you're going to focus on. Okay. In fact, do me a favor. Lorena says, can we have a session where you explain how to prep the list for the calls? Absolutely. Sure. Yeah. Great question, Lorena. So what I'd like to do is everybody, whatever platform you're on, whether you're on LinkedIn, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on Zoom, do me a favor and write in the chat, okay, what the one takeaway that you're going to implement tomorrow, okay? Because again, information without implementation means absolutely zero, okay? So let's see what everyone's got. Let's go ahead and put it in the chat. Plan the day, increase dials, journaling, get up an hour early. Love it, Emmanuel. Lorena says, journal, 50 dials a day, take action. Yes, guys. Now here's the thing. I'm going to challenge you, okay? I'm going to challenge you to whatever you just told me you were going to do, to implement it tomorrow. And for the next 5 business days until we meet again next week, you do that thing, okay? And I'm going to take it a step further. Write it down. If you have a Post-it note, okay? Post-it note, write it down and put it on your computer screen so it's staring you in the face. If it's journaling. If it's plan your day the night before, make it that. If it's increase your dials, make it that, all right? It's a lot harder. It's a lot harder when you see it staring you in the face, looking at, the Post-it note is on your computer screen. It's a lot harder to ignore it when it's staring you in the face, and then when you just say, I'm going to do that. Okay, guys, do I have a agreement here? Because I want to see you succeed. That's why I do this, guys. This is my passion project. I want to make it easier on other people. Okay, very, very important. Okay, now one last thing I'm going to share with you folks is follow-up. I cannot stress enough the importance of follow-up. The people that say, oh, the fortune's in the follow-up, you better believe it. The reason being is that follow-up is so darn important. Why? Because follow-up, most people don't make a decision on the first or second or third or fifth contact. It's usually 8, 10, 12, 15 times. Some of the biggest deals I've ever closed, like multiple 6-figure commission checks, have been from people that I just relentlessly followed up with. You know why? Because nobody else does it. Nobody else does that. So what you want to do is you want to set yourself apart. You want to do the fastest way to set yourself apart, folks? Follow up like a madman or a mad lady, okay? If you just make PhD, pig-headed discipline, if you just follow up over and over and over again, even if you're not very good at it, I promise you it'll make a marked difference in your life, okay? Everybody you've gone on a meeting with in the last 3 months, Friday morning, 10 a.m., go and make sure you follow up with them every single week. You'll be the only person that does it. I promise you. Nobody else is doing this stuff. Very, very important, okay? And then finally, just like you guys are here, okay, personal growth, okay? I make it a point to be constantly learning, to be constantly involved in masterminds, to be constantly adding to my skill set, okay? Personal growth. If you aren't growing, you are shrinking and withering, okay? You need to be feeding your brain with good information, and that's why you guys are here. I really appreciate you taking a half hour out of your busy week in the middle of your business day. I very, very much appreciate that. So, but by the very virtue that you are here, that's showing that you're willing to learn. Don't just do it one day a week. Do it every day. Even if it's just a little bit, even if you read 10 pages a day, it'll make a huge difference over the course of your career and the course increasing your earnings capacity. Okay, folks. So again, do me and yourself a favor and implement one thing that you learned today into your business over the next 5 business days. And I look forward to seeing you next Monday. Hope you're having a great day. Look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye now.